It's not like it was all sunshine and rainbows. We had struggled when I came home and we were together constantly.
24/7 we were together.
That was a whole nother element that we had to deal with because we were both stepping on each other's toes. We were really trying to figure out this process of
Marriage and
marriage.
business.
Yeah. Newly married. Now we have a business together and now we're spending a lot of time together.
Hey guys, I'm Brittany Xavier.
And I'm Anthony Xavier.
And you're listening to The Long Game. Let's jump into our story, a little bit about how we met, how it got us to where we are today. I did a little Q&A on my Instagram, asking some questions. We got some of the same questions over and over again. A common question was, what do we do for a living?
Yeah.
So let's dive in. Backtrack to November 2010.
We were both 23.
We met the old-fashioned way. We met at a restaurant.
Before I want to ask you, though, where was your mindset with regards to dating?
At that time, I had just graduated college. I wasn't looking for anything because I had went on a few dates with a guy who was making me feel really awkward about Jadyn. At that time, she was 3 and making comments about, can you stay out later? That I had to get back. No, I'm a mom. I told him that from the very beginning. So I was just a little over it at that point where I thought I want to be able to support myself. I want to live on my own with my daughter and not need anyone in a way. And so that was my mindset when I went out to dinner that night.
And I think for me, I had dated, but I never really had a relationship. It was like 2 or 3 years before my previous relationship, and that didn't even last that long. So I was on the mindset where I just got out of college. It was a lot of more personal development, and dating wasn't really on the scope of what I wanted to do or what I was actually searching for.
I go out to dinner with my friend, and when you walked in, I had told her, oh, that guy's pretty cute. You had really short hair and you're wearing these cool
shaved
glasses, and you just really stood out to me. And I never say that about people, but we were sitting in perfect eyesight, and she turns around and says that she knew your friend, which from like 5 years ago. So basically she ups and leaves and is catching up with your friend, and me and you are left to just sit there and talk for 4 hours.
And I remember walking in the restaurant, and I kind of was scoping the scene, and I did see you, and I thought you were very cute. And I was like, But I'm too big of a wuss to be able to go up to someone and be like, hey, my name's Anthony. How's it going? It was a lot easier and more natural, where it's just our friends were like, wait, I know him. He knows her. And then they kind of brought us together and left us.
So we ended up talking for about 4 hours that night. I remember specifically loving our connection.
It didn't seem like 4 hours. Like, my friends had left me and they were eventually came back to get me. But I think we were such like in the zone and connecting.
It was kind of loud in there. I remember just being really into what you were saying, and weird because I didn't really think I probably would talk to you again. I was just like, this is a fun night. It's supposed to be a girls' night. Good
Conversation. But I do remember something that stuck out. I mean, within the first minute of us talking, like, oh, I believe I said, what do you like to do? And what did you say?
I said, I'm a mom to a 3-year-old, so I love spending time with her and being her mom.
And that kind of caught me off guard.
You're
but
like, wait, what?
I didn't think too much of it. It was what it was. We were connecting and having conversation, but that did stick out to me. Wait, did she say she was a mom? I mean, it was loud. I was like, okay.
Yeah. And Jadyn is at the mindset that I was in too, is I was never going to be ashamed of her or try to hide her or make it less of a thing. That was my life. That was me being a mom. I was very proud of it. And I'd gone through so much to get to where we were at that moment that I was very proud of where I was at that point too. It's like, yeah, I was doing it on my own. I was trying to figure it out, paycheck to paycheck at the time. But I was just very proud of how far I had come.
And I feel like your previous dating experiences even show that more or built that character more, because like, why are you making me feel like my daughter is a burden?
Right.
And like, my daughter is a part of me. I should never be ashamed of that. It's a package deal.
Right. Fast forward after that, we connected on Facebook.
I did some Facebook stalking the next day.
And I think we chatted after that, gave each other our numbers.
And I remember when we left that night, because my friends were asking me, we're talking to her for a long time, how did it go? The thing that stuck out to me was, well, she said she's a mom, she has a kid. And my mindset, being 23, just fresh out of college, is like, what do I do with that?
First of all, tell them that rule that you had, the silly rule that you
I
made
had
up
a
in your
list
mind.
of dating rules, probably why I was single for as long as I was. There's a set of rules that I set for myself with regards to dating. And one of them was I wouldn't want to date anyone with a kid because that brings in a whole another realm of what I would have to deal with. It's an unknown, and you just hear of
The drama,
crazy
right.
stories, the drama. I don't know if I could push this further or want to reach out or talk. You know what? I'm just going to sit with it and see where it goes because I didn't know if we were going to connect again or if I text you, you would just ghost me. So it was a thought in my mind, but I didn't put too much weight on it because it wasn't at a point where, wait, this could be something.
Right. It was just, we just had a conversation.
Decide now. Correct.
So we ended up talking for, I feel like we were talking every day after that.
A lot of texting.
You did ask me to go on another date. You said I would love, well, the first one wasn't a date. You said I would love to take you on a date.
Okay.
And I thought that was really nice and respectful. And you took me to a hookah bar, which I was not.
Like I said before, that was what we did in college.
I met you there, and I was like, first of all, I don't do hookah.
And they didn't serve any alcohol, and the food was subpar.
There was no. I was like trying to order a glass of wine, and they were like, "Oh, we have nothing like that."
So maybe a hookah bar wasn't the best first date.
I do like that we were talking no alcohol. We were literally just talking about. Again, we talked for another 4 hours that night.
It was very intimate. We got to sit outside. There's barely anyone there. And it gave us the opportunity to just be able to have a conversation instead of like, oh, meet me at a club. And, let's get drinks and dance. And there's no...
We really did talk for another great... I feel like we had such great conversation again that night. And I did remember that something really stood out to me. We were talking is that you said your mom had you really young.
She was 17.
Your grandparents at the time were
on my dad's side.
Did not support it, did not want your dad to be with her. And she had to go through a lot to have you. That really connected with me because you had a little bit more compassion or empathy for my situation. That even brought us together closer because you were like, oh, my mom actually had me younger than you had Jaden. And
my dad's parents had cut that connection off. So it was just truly them two trying to raise a kid at 17.
Just how confident and independent you were and how I just loved the values we shared. That night, I really felt like, wow, I want to hang out with him again. After that, it really not sealed the deal for me, but I really thought I want to spend more time with him. I felt like it was an intelligent conversation. You didn't give me any icks that were weird. I feel like we connected after that.
Did you appreciate me not kissing you after that date? Or did you think that that was a possibility?
I don't remember thinking. I feel like we were connecting on an intelligent level. I did like that it wasn't about that, though. It wasn't. Yeah, we didn't kiss until. I think it just was like we were at a hookah bar. Like, we got to go after.
It was like hugs goodbye. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was like,
really
see
not.
ya.
The scene didn't really set the mood, but that was another one of my rules where it's like I really like someone. Well, I'm not saying that if I don't like them, I'm going to try to kiss them, but I really want to show that I respect you and I respect our time and our conversation, and to kind of like, okay, let me get in a kiss real quick. I did feel that connection, but I wanted to show that I respect you. And usually I save the kiss for like the third or fourth date. That's my rule.
Well, that definitely happened. I would say third date.
Yeah.
After that, we decided that we wanted to still go on dates, but I told you I could only meet once a week because I had Jaden. I was working full time. My days off, I really wanted to be with her, but I also didn't want to introduce you to her. I honestly didn't know if this would be anything, and I didn't want it to be me introduce her and then you're not there again.
Which that kind of worked out perfectly because my mindset, usually when I meet a girl and they're like, oh, can you hang out the next day? I feel like this clinginess, we still have things to do, or my time is precious. I love my me time. I believe just the once a week or once even every 2 weeks gave us the opportunity to be able to talk, but still have our own space and do our own thing.
And we were talking so much that during that time we were building that connection without, definitely wasn't physical, I would say. When I think of other people, I think of that's all it was. But then with you, it was so much deeper. I feel like we got closer because we're talking so much. I really valued that. We dated like that for about 6 months.
Yeah.
And then you asked me cutely to be your girlfriend, which I thought was really cute.
I picked a nice spot. I believe it was like in Fullerton in a park that kind of had an overlooking view of the city lights. I brought in a strawberry shortcake and we had a picnic out there.
Really thoughtful.
And so we had dessert. And then I asked you, will you like to be my girlfriend?
I was like, are we in junior high? But yes. And I thought that was nice because it showed me that you were thinking about, I mean, we had those conversations about future, where we saw ourselves, and had all those conversations during those 6 months. And I did tell you, I don't want to introduce you to Jadyn if this is not going to be anything, just out of respect for her. You were really okay with that. If you weren't going to be okay with that, you were probably going to have to go on your way.
Peace out. You did keep me, you talked about her, talked
Yeah.
about what she was doing.
I'm at a recital.
And send me
different things.
pictures. So it was cute to kind of get a little bit of a glimpse of your
Mhm.
life as a mom.
After that, we had gone to church, and I said, okay, how about we just meet afterwards there? It's a neutral location,
Mhm.
and she'll be in her class. Afterwards, we come out, we can go to dinner after. And I introduced you as my friend. I said, this is Anthony, my friend, and I want you to meet him. I really like spending time with him. And what did she say? It was so cute.
She said, he looks like Prince Eric. It was the cutest little thing. And I do remember that night very vividly. And she was just thinking of how small or how grown she is now
I know.
compared to that moment. She was being very cute and silly.
She was Poppy's age. Well, a little older than Poppy.
Mm-hmm.
And picture how sassy Poppy is and what she says. She would totally tell you something funny if she met
Oh
someone
my goodness,
right now.
for sure. And then we went to In-N-Out after that. We had our meal and got to meet her and talk to her a little bit. She was being shy but goofy, and
Mhm.
it was a special moment.
That does stand out in my mind. And that was, I would say that was 2011, mid 2011 at that point.
Yeah.
So after that, we continued to do dates, but it was more family oriented, right? So we'd go to the park. We would go to
The zoo.
We go to the zoo, the aquarium. There were always not very expensive things too, because I was very budgeted and you were very budgeted.
And I had no money.
Right. So
So,
we just had to, the
figure it
most
out.
free things we did
Mhm.
together. We'd go to the beach, walk around with her. Those were moments where we were spending time. I was spending time with her. You were around her, and I could see that connection you guys were building. That also made me grow closer to you too, seeing how sweet you were with her and how much she'd be like, so when are we going to see Anthony again? I'm like, precious. One rule I had, though, I didn't want you sleeping over. I didn't want it to be something I was in a small, what was the square footage of that? 300 square
I
feet?
mean, maybe if that.
It was a studio.
Call it your tree house.
We called it a tree house, but I was living above a garage at the time of a place I rented. It was the cutest setup. I loved being there. The owner of the house was so sweet. I have such great memories there. It was a really, really small, so it was almost like we were in one room.
But there was a curtain that would separate Jaden's room.
Mm-hmm.
When we would.
She would pull the curtain.
Yeah, we would watch movies together and just hang out, and she's supposed to be in bed, but you can see her just peeking through the curtain and trying to, what are you guys watching?
The shower
Jaden.
was really small. The shower was in the room, and then I had a kitchenette. So I had a hot plate. I had a small little kitchen fridge. My space was really small, so I didn't want you over there all the time either.
Yeah.
Because I wanted her to have a routine. I didn't want to be like mommy's boyfriend sleeping over every night. I didn't want that for her.
Also, you don't want to switch up, that
Her
dynamic.
routine. Mm-hmm.
No,
And those were special moments that I had just with her too. We would hang out. You would leave late. I would have my breakfast with her. That was our routine. I really valued that. So we dated like that for about, I don't know, a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting very serious.
Do you think it got more serious because I had Jaden, or do you think in general? I always think if I didn't have Jaden, would we have dated the same way? Obviously, no. I think we would have been more lax and I could hang out, right?
I feel like the way we did it, we really got to understand each other as people,
Mm-hmm.
and also in kind of a family aspect. This is what family life could look like if we were married and doing the things. Do we align on the same values? Doing it that way gave us the opportunity. If Jaden wasn't there and we were just dating, there's a good possibility.
Yeah, I
that
don't know. I guess
it
you can't
could've
really say what if. That's what it was for us at the time.
Year and a half went by, and I knew
We had talked about
marriage and what that would look like, or how many kids we wanted during our conversations. We had a good set of values and goals that we aligned on. And I knew deep down inside, I just knew you weren't like anyone else that I had dated. I knew I wanted you in my life, you and Jaden. That's how I saw my future.
I remember my friend asking me, what do you think about him? And I thought this is the first time that if someone, because I would always end it. I dated very little before that. But with you, I thought if you did that to me, I would be so devastated because I felt like I felt like we were best friends. Like we had always known each other, but it really was only that year and a half.
Mm.
And it felt like we had connected and we just knew so much about each other in that short amount of time.
I knew that I wanted to marry you. And I wanted to do it in a very cute way. So I believe it was in May, maybe Memorial Day weekend.
It was more of a
And I created a scavenger hunt. And it was all the places that we had been to on our dates, whether it was just me and you or me, you, and Jaden. So I sent you all over town. At each spot, there was another clue. It took you probably like half the day. And then there was like a Target gift card to buy dresses. There was a nail salon gift card so you can get your nails done. And while you were doing that, I had gone back to your place because where you were situated, it was so very nature. There's trees everywhere. There's a creek. It was a beautiful spot. And I had set rose petals up. I had set a camera. I had got the scene ready. And when you guys had come back, that's where I had popped the question. I got you a ring. I got Jaden a ring.
Still has. It's adorable.
Yeah. It was so cute because didn't she said that she was
Are you
like,
going to marry my mom?
yeah, are you going to marry my mom? It was so precious. And you said yes. Literally.
I said yes. It felt different after when we were engaged. It felt like this is serious. We're making a commitment, take it to the next step. And after that, we really got serious about as far as what we wanted with our wedding. We had to pay for our wedding ourselves. Neither of our parents could afford to help us. We knew if we wanted to have a wedding, we had to pay for it ourselves.
Along with the honeymoon.
I actually had never traveled outside of the country before. So I had to get a passport for that. We wanted to go to Bora Bora. We couldn't afford it. We went to Morea. We figured out what we needed to hit those goals. We wanted to have a small wedding, but I wanted to have a wedding.
On a financial perspective, we had student loan debt, we had credit card debt. I mean, it was maybe like $150,000 or $140,000.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, how are we going to save for this wedding? What do we need to do? And when we had got engaged, we took Dave Ramsey's financial freedom.
I was paycheck to paycheck. I would still tithe. I was still very good about tithing my money at the beginning of the month, but I didn't really have a sense of planning out my money. If I had to get certain things, I knew what bills I had to pay, but I wasn't very good about having that little cushion for if anything came up.
That class had set up the foundation for us, or the blueprint to be able to reach our goals and really buckle down.
This is how much we need to save each month. We did a budget for the wedding. We said, this is the max I can spend on each thing. And we did a honeymoon budget and we said, this is how much we need to save each month to get this. You got some extra side work. You were doing some SEO consulting. I was selling flowers on Etsy.
We would go to garage sales every weekend to find old picture frames because you had a sense of how you wanted.
It was a very DIY wedding because it saved us a lot of money. Being on the same page with that, it really gave us, I thought our engagement was fun because we were hanging out, but we were going to garage sales in the morning to get our items for our wedding.
Wedding decor.
Every 2 weeks, we would sit down. What are we at with the budget? How are we doing? And I thought it was fun. We're really getting to know each other more during that time. And we did premarital counseling, which I thought was really great because it did talk about the values, all the things we had already talked about, but it just was sitting down with both of us and really aligning. This is what we're going to do. And that also motivated us to say, once we get married, we're also going to continue counseling to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Kind of like that preventative mindset, right? Instead of waiting until there's an issue, let's just be on top of things until like I want to succeed in this marriage. That was a goal that we had talked about and said, what do we need to do to make this work and continue this passion? That takes us up into the wedding. We got married September 7th, 2013.
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Almost 11.
Almost 11.
It's coming up.
And that was such a fun day.
It was gorgeous. It was at Walnut Grove. A lot of walnut trees, the sun, the light, everything.
It was really, it was such
family,
a fun
friends.
day.
Yeah, we had a great time. And then we went on our honeymoon, which was just an unreal experience because, like you said, you've never been out of the country and to go to somewhere tropical and it was just us and
so
to really
beautiful.
connect. And I enjoyed it. I feel like we enjoyed it even more because it was something that we had worked towards together. We saved for it ourselves and We had little help here or there, but I think a majority of
The
it
cash dance at
was
the wedding
us.
helped.
Now that was done, that the hustle of saving, we moved into I think it was like a 490 square foot house. Like this
Yeah.
thing was tiny, but it was a little house.
And one of the things we had talked about too during the engagement is we didn't want to move in together until after we were married.
hmm
I didn't want you to move in with me in our little place. I wanted to find a place together.
hmm
And you were on board with that too. We wanted to just start fresh together. The place was so perfect that we found.
It was, yeah, perfect for what we needed. Jaden had one tiny
It was a
room,
1 bedroom.
one bedroom, our living room, probably as big as this studio. We had to buy a futon because we would pull it out. The kitchenette was just this little thing, but
Yeah, it was perfect.
it worked for what we needed. So it allowed us to still kind of chip away at our debt and complete our goals of what we needed to do without overspending it.
That was a transitional time too. We were together. We were making sure we were doing the family things with Jaden, but also we were both working full time. Now that the wedding was over, and during that time of the year and a half that we were engaged, I was looking at wedding blogs all the time. I loved reading wedding blogs. I would get ideas. We would look at venues because I saw it on some blog. I would enter contests I won my veil. I would enter contests for any of the free items. I just loved it. It was a part of my daily routine to check what the real weddings were posted and see what they did for decor. So once our wedding happened, that was the end of it for wedding blogs for me. It was kind of a little depressing. That was my first real interaction with blogs too. The first time I was really reading them daily. We got a nice camera for our wedding. That was one of our gifts. We thought, let's just start a blog. That was in December, 2 months after we had gotten home from our honeymoon, and thought, gosh, we have so much more free time now. We're not planning the wedding anymore. I'm not reading the blogs. We're not having to do all these extra side jobs.
You were fashionable and you would find things at the thrift store and you would kind of mix and match. And we're like, how can we start something?
My blog at the time was called Thrifts and Threads. I thought maybe I can talk about some of the thrift store finds and talk about some of the regular items I was mixing in with where I featured at Target or wherever I was shopping. I didn't share much about my life. We shot the outfits and we would post where I got everything from.
And we started the Instagram, and you would post 3 times a day on Instagram, and we were very consistent.
So consistent.
It was kind of funny because I think once you had signed up, somehow Instagram had linked to your Facebook, and then it sent it out to all your friends.
I was so embarrassed.
Yeah, what is this blog? Where are you
They're like,
posting
"Are you
pictures
modeling?"
for? Or they didn't really quite understand it.
A blogger, it was called. I loved it. I
Yeah.
love taking pictures of my outfits.
I got better at the camera. We learned along the way, whether it's like look up YouTube videos, read articles.
Each month, we would look at our stats and see that the readership was going up. That really motivated me to continue going because you would give me these ideas about, okay, we could do this for SEO. We could do our email marketing list. It was fun because we were seeing a little bit of growth each month. It wasn't a ton, but we were seeing it in a positive direction. And I would get comments in the blog like, wow, this really resonated with me, or thank you so much. It was fun because I was connecting with people that were all over.
And you would get featured on H&M, and it was like those little wins, like, oh, wow. And then we would have another flow of followers. And it was like those little steps really kept us going. I was working at a citrus ingredients company. And so my job was marketing for the company, but also as a sales associate. So it was kind of
traveling a ton too.
Traveling a ton. It's still in the same realm, but I really loved the whole SEO, building a blog, building an audience. So during my free time or during lunch, I would look into these sites and really start to educate myself. And then when I would get home to you, I'm like, we should try this or we should do this. And so I think it just started the momentum and having.
And one thing about you that I love is you always figure something out. You can self-teach yourself to do anything and you can figure it out, right? No matter what, I'd be like, can you help me with this? And you'll figure it out. You would come back motivated on certain things, like, I could do this better. And it motivated me to be like, all right, let me shoot it this way then. For the blog, I would say we were the most consistent. For looking back, I don't even know how we were so consistent with just the little growth, but there was no revenue coming in. I entered a contest. It was the Blog Lovin' Awards at the time. It was where the readers had to vote on their breakthrough blogger of the year. I had made it to the 3 finalists. The awards were in New York during Fashion Week, and that was my first time ever going to Fashion Week. That was 2015. I had ended up winning that award. So it opened me up where I got some press from it, and I got my first manager at the time. Say it opened it up The idea that this could be something for us, so something that we created could be more serious than we were even thinking about. And we also at that time started figuring out that we would do rate cards. People would reach out and ask me to post something. And I was just excited about, they want me to try on this leather jacket. For me, that didn't cut into my clothing budget.
Exactly. Our mindset was like, now we don't have to spend money on clothes.
And there are things I would already buy anyway. So it takes away that budget aspect for me. And I went to a few networking events in LA, was meeting with a few women at the time who were also blogging. And one of them told me, you should probably be charging for that, right? They're using it on their website. They're sending it in the email blast.
Yeah.
You shouldn't just be doing this for a jacket. I came home from that event. I thought, people are charging for this, right? And I don't know exactly to the extent, but I was just like, a whole light bulb went off for me. And I thought, we need to make a rate card. People reach out. Yes, I want the outfit because it's something I'm going to buy anyway. And I would always say no to certain things that weren't my style. And that was a hard pass for me on certain brands where reach out. I'm like, it's not genuine to me. I was very good about saying no.
Staying true to your own style and yourself.
But the ones that I did want to partner with, we thought, okay, let's do a rate card. So I would say, this is how much for a blog post feature. This is for an email feature. And
when they would agree, we're like, wait, what?
They would agree way too quickly.
Which means we had a rate way too low, but it's all learning process, trial and error. But
this is so fun. We're doing something we love, but we're also getting paid for it. During that time, I was working at an insurance marketing company. We would do all of this on the weekends. We would shoot really early on Saturday mornings for the blog. We'd have 5 blog posts a week. I would write everything Saturday night after Jaden was in bed. The weekends were spent getting the blog posts up. We said no to hanging out with our friends so often. We just had this vision, right? We're like, we have to have a post up Monday morning. We have to have it consistent throughout the week. And I can't be posting it when I'm at work. I had a full-time 9-to-5 job. And so did you. So we don't want to be working on it when we're at work.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to be trying to get the blog post up on Monday night when I should be getting to sleep. So I would say for that time, we really focused on just getting the blog posts super consistent.
Getting the content out there and really building this thing. And it wasn't an easy feat. And I think it did take a while. You didn't quit until 2000.
2 years after.
Yeah, 2 years after. And then I quit a year after, I think 2016.
And what we decided during that time was the money that I was getting from the blog and from the partnerships I was doing had to replace my income for 3 months in a row before not only my income, but my 401k and our insurance money, because then I would have to take that all on. So I wanted to make sure we could cover all that and not quit.
And then run out of money.
Right. We did it from a very planned, thoughtful and planned. We sat down, and each month that I would book, these brands would reach out, email me, and I was negotiating these deals. This is one more step in the direction. And I love the job I was at too, but I also wanted the freedom to make my own schedule.
Yeah.
And I would use my work day, my time off, for times that I would want to be at Jaden's classroom. We didn't really have vacation time because we'd use that time to be with Jaden on some days that she needed. So that was just a vision. That would be amazing, just to be able to be more flexible and also work on the blog during the weekday instead of on Saturday nights. With your travel schedule, do we need to get a photographer, or are you going to take the step too and we're really going to go for this?
Yeah.
That was a conversation that felt a lot more scarier too, because there wasn't anything else after
that. There's no net. Like, you just had to do it, and hopefully you plan well enough to be able to sustain it, even if there was those down times. And
you were on a track that if you stayed there, you would have been continued to be promoted. It was a very great company you're working for. Great. I loved the job you were at.
There's a part of me too, I wanted to do my own thing and live my own life the way I wanted to. And I know finding great company, there's amazing companies out there. And the one I was working for was an amazing company, but there's just, that itch deep down inside. I can do more, I can be better, and I can run the life that I wanted to live. And both of us had connected on that. We both shared the same value, and that's what's kind of led us, to where we are today. If I remember correctly, we did 6 months of the income replacement for yours. 6 months. Once that, you have to pay
That's
for your
it.
own insurance, you
Right.
have to do your own saving, you have to create your own 401k account. Those little things that companies usually take care of, now it would fall on us, and we would have to kind of be the business owners. Like, it was the
Right.
next evolution of, we need to set up a business. We need to make sure that we properly have
The
everything in
taxes and all
place.
that,
Mhm.
right. When we had the conversation about you leaving your job, it was, I wanna make my own schedule. I wanna have my own thing going on, and it was part of your goals and our goals together. It's like the finance portion, but if you take out the finances, where do you actually see yourself? And you weren't seeing yourself 100% working for someone else for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So I think that was also a deciding factor. We're like, let's do this. Let's put our best effort in. And you left on such good terms with your company. If anything doesn't work out, let us know. Same with me. I left
Yeah.
on such good terms. There, when I left my company at the time, you know, I had a blog because I would never talk about it. I would never share it there. They're like, what do you have? What are
is
you doing?
this?
How is it making money?
Yeah.
I had 50,000 followers at the time when I left on Instagram. But my blog was, the readership was doing pretty well. They were also confused, like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, but like, let me know if it doesn't work out. You know, they're probably like, I'm not sure if it will. We both left on good terms and just really gave it our all after that.
It's not like it was all sunshine and rain. I mean, we had struggled when I came home and we were together constantly.
24/7 we were together.
That was a whole nother element that we had to deal with, because we were both stepping on each other's toes, and we were really trying to figure out this process of
Marriage and
marriage.
business.
Yeah. Newly married. Now we have a business together, and now we're spending a lot of time together.
Mhm.
And it was rough because we didn't really have the tools at the time to be able to communicate to each other without it ending, or without it escalating to an argument.
So we came together. I remember that was a really good point. We got through our counseling. We're like, hey, we need to figure this out. We're now in business together. We want to be, what's the best way to communicate
Mhm.
for business things, but also we want to be able to have a thriving marriage where we're not annoyed about work, but then we're coming together and like, now we need to go on a date.
Yeah.
And we're annoyed with each other.
Exactly.
The best advice we had during that time was, you guys need to figure out what your roles are. Let him do his role, you do your role. And
then you come
trust
together.
each other to do it and not feel like you have to, oh, are you doing that today? Or what are you working on? Micromanaging each other.
Another lesson that we've had to learn is really set time aside to where, let's just don't talk about business. Let's just be together and enjoy the time that we have.
That takes us to, you quit your job in 2016.
Business was great. There was a brief moment in time where we're like, should we have a kid?
Yeah, we thought about it for a month. Things started taking off a little bit for me with trips. Jaden was in school, and I thought, I don't know if it's going to be the best time for us to have a baby right now, because I'm just starting to really feel the momentum. It'll happen when it happens. We were going to places. We were getting invited for different hotels. This is so fun. Let's enjoy this while we had those years. We were growing the account, growing our blog.
Traveling around the world and getting those experiences. And then once COVID hit,
well, no trips.
Yeah, this is a perfect time. We're saving for a house, and it just felt like the right moment.
If I didn't have Jaden, I probably would have felt different, because we had experienced so much family things with Jaden. I think if we didn't have that, we probably would have tried earlier, right? We would have been like, let's have it.
So, yeah.
But we were going to all these like fun kid things. We were kind of living through her. We're taking her to Disneyland. We were doing little things.
We had a family.
Right. It's like we felt like we had that family experience, but without the baby experience. We had never been through a baby together.
Mm-hmm.
We decided to stop writing on the blog, start TikTok in 2019, and I was seeing really good traction with that, and decided, let's just go full into video. Let's really ramp up trying to do YouTube and focus on doing TikTok videos versus taking my time from the blog.
Yeah.
I got pregnant with Poppy at the end of that year. Right now, what we do for a living, we have our social media. We partner with fashion, beauty brands, lifestyle brands.
Across all platforms. So Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'm really excited about this podcast.
I love this format. I listen to podcasts all the time, and I'm excited to do it with my best friend.
I'm excited that you are my partner in life. You are a very loving and thoughtful mother.
Oh, I'm excited to do this with you. Another journey we're starting together.
We have a lot of things in the works.
Yes. Stay tuned for our upcoming episodes. You can find us every Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.